A couple months ago, I made a video about my Evinrude 2, the two-stroke, 2 horsepower little outboard that I have, that I probably overpaid for. But in that video, I asked, is it worth saving? Should I fix it up? And overwhelmingly, many of you said absolutely, for a variety of reasons. And that's great, because I really wanted that feedback. And I took your advice, and I thought, you know what, I am going to go ahead and fix it up. It's been slow going because I have lots of other projects that I've been working on and am working on. But then I realized I hadn't done an update on that motor. What's wrong with it? What's right with it? How far along am I? And that's what this video is all about. Here it is. Yeah, it's not done yet. There's no carburetor, there's no mounting bracket, there's no pull starter. The rest of the motor is sitting here on this table. Basically, everything on this little motor needed attention. And I mean everything. One of the first things that I did was I checked to make sure that actually the motor was functioning. It was functioning, and then I checked for compression. And the compression isn't great. Almost 75. But I have seen with other old small two-strokes, when they've been sitting for a long period of time, sometimes those first few pulls, the compression isn't great. But it has compression. So that's the one thing that I found that was okay with this motor. Let me go through some of the other things that have happened and where we stand with some of this. I'm going to start with an incredible victory story. When I first got this motor, I thought this screw right here would take off this engine cover. And so when I popped that screw off, it released the spring and everything inside of here. I made my best attempt to put it all back together and get it working right, but it wasn't working very well. And the way I figured out how to do it was by watching a video from Brandon's Garage YouTube channel. If you've never seen any of his videos, he's much more knowledgeable about these things than I am. He has a lot of experience with old Johnson and Evinrude and other small two-stroke outboard motors. So I had talked to him a little bit while I was working on this, and basically in the end he's like, hey, you know what? I can fix that up for you. And so I sent it to him, and he took care of this. If you're interested in how to do one of these, he's got a video on his channel fixing this one. So I'll have a link to that as well. But as you can see, this now works great. So that was one of the first things that I had to deal with, was I couldn't easily use the pull starter. So that has been addressed. In one of my other videos, I talked about this fuel tank and the petcock. Well, the nice thing is, because my Evinrude is from 1977, it's a plastic fuel tank. And the fuel tank seems to be in great condition. However, the petcock was not in great condition. And I had to really work on it to get it freed up, but I have it freed up and functional. However, I was checking it out the other day, and when I blow air through here, I can't get it to shut off completely. It opens up completely for great flow, but it doesn't shut off completely. So this is working, but it's not working as well as I'd like it to be working. Then, of course, you have your vented fuel cap. I have cleaned this, I've lubricated it, I've worked on it several times, but to first break it free, it always requires me to use pliers. And once I've used pliers on it, then the vent opens up just fine. Next, we come to the carburetor. In one of my other videos, I was soaking this carburetor because of the fact that this jet here was completely seized. I ordered a carburetor kit for this, got the cheapest one I could find, and I'm going to rebuild this carburetor. There'll be another video about that real soon. So, of course, with any motor, you need three things for it to work. You need compression, you need spark, and you need fuel. Yes, you need other things, but basically if fuel delivery is not working, spark delivery is not working, and compression isn't working, you're not running. Which brings me to spark. Underneath of here is where all the guts are for the electronics. I was just going to buy a kit to be able to do this right here, but I'm not sure if my coil is working. I've been actually playing around with this all a little bit, Of course, I've got like some wrong style plug wire on here. The plug is many years old, and I don't know how old any of this is. This looks like it may have been replaced. And this part here is very hard to move back and forth. I've watched other videos, and for a lot of people, going from stop to fast is actually very easy. But on this one, it is really hard. So I'm going to need to take all of this apart to just clean this, and hopefully cleaning it, lubricating it, putting it back together again will make this actually operate smoothly. Because rotating this is actually how you start and stop the engine. So there's money that needs to be spent here and a lot more work that needs to be done here. This motor here, when I bought it, it was an impulse buy. I hadn't seen many small outboards for sale, and I had been looking around for a while. And just nothing was coming up that was reasonably priced. And I just kept looking every day. And finally, when this motor came up, I jumped on it because of the fact that for me, in this area, at the time I was looking for this, it was the only thing that came up that I could get. The irony is, right after I bought this engine, literally within days of buying it and starting to look stuff up to get it running, that's whenever the Mercury two-stroke that I have popped up. I drove about 20 miles to go pick up this Evinrude motor, and the Mercury two-stroke was about 3 blocks from here. So that's the way life goes. And that's why I jumped on that Mercury two-stroke. And that's another reason why I never have worked on this, because I have a small outboard motor that works fine for my purposes, and this one was just sitting. So I'm going to keep working on this motor. I am going to get it running. I'm going to put the money into it to do so. I'm going to be way upside down in this engine because in the end, I'm going to have a running motor that's probably not in great shape, might not run well ever, and may have terrible compression, and I'll have too much money in it compared to what these are worth and what they actually go for. But that's okay, because I've started down this journey and I'm going to finish it. Or I should say, I intend to finish it. And I will admit that this is always a back burner side project job, which is why it hasn't been done yet. And when I'm working on it or thinking about working on it, sometimes other kinds of things come in the way that are a distraction. Matter of fact, there's one distraction right here in the corner right now, which I'm very excited about. But that's enough about this little engine right here. You might want to check out this video up here though, because it's a bit more interesting. It's a happier story.